welcome back to Jade Art. I'm Jade, and today I'm going to do a speed draw of Snow White in 1930s clothing. The reason for this is because I've seen a lot of artists do drawings of Disney princesses, but in clothes that they naturally have been wearing in the time that they were set. So all putting them into clothes that are from like now. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I've taken one movie from each decade and I've drawn them in clothing from that decade. And the first one that was released was Snow White, so I decided to do her in 1930s clothing. So I hope you enjoy. Here we go. So basically with the start of this sketching, I just tried to get a basic outline of the pose that I wanted for Snow White. She has a very petite frame, and here, as you can see, I kind of messed up with the oval for the chest piece. I had to make it considerably smaller because obviously that's not the size that her chest and ribs would be. I had a fair bit of trouble with the eyes, just how I wanted them when I was going through which eye types I wanted. Eventually I settled on like the ones that she actually has in the movie, which are kind of bent at the bottom but then a semicircle over the top, and then of course eyelashes, blah blah blah. Now, I know I usually go for a more angular, sweet female face, but in the movie, Snow White has a very round and squished face. Now, I did make her head a little bit too big in terms of like the hairline to the back of the head. But as for the actual face proportions, it was a lot rounder than what I usually do, and I actually do want to get into doing that sort of stuff because it looks a lot more cuter, and yeah, it's something I have been looking into and been wanting to do. With this part, it was a lot of trial and error, and looking at the end result of it now, I did do the right, I don't know what you would call it, the right sash bits that go across, that are supposed to go like under the chest. The right one page right. It's a lot higher than what it should be and what it would look like, but I didn't realize that until after I'd actually looked through over the footage and a picture that I took of it. So yeah, just down the bottom I did a little bow, because in the reference picture that I found, there was a bow like kind of subtly in the back, probably to tie in the sashes or whatever that go around the chest area. So yeah, I wanted to keep the main design in my book, so that's why it's in my book, and I'm tracing it onto one of my pieces of card that I use for my paper, for my drawings. I cannot speak today, I am so sorry. So yeah, this is just me going over it. My left hand is very, very heavy when I do tracing over my lightboard, and that is something I need to work on, because since my hand is so heavy, the slightest movement will actually move the whole piece. If anyone else knows, if anyone else does this when they do tracing on a lightboard and have a really heavy hand. So yeah, that was it. Thankfully it didn't actually move. Sorry, I'm trying to do this all in one take and it's making me really nervous. So yeah, that's one thing I want to work on. I would like to work on my hand not being as heavy, or even using scotch tape to put my pieces together, because then it won't rip if I were to tear it off. Anyway, back to the drawing. So here I'm just going around the outlines. When I originally did this, I did notice that her forehead was really big when I was outlining, but then I went back and looked at a lot of pictures from the 1930s, and they actually did have a lot of their forehead showing, and their hairline was back pretty far. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better about it. And also, the style of hair that Snow White has in the movie is actually kind of similar to 1930s style, because it's nice and puffy, it's kind of short, and it's not flowing anywhere. Even short hair can be flowy, but this one her hair kind of sticks to the side of, like, to her head kind of thing, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, so it wasn't too hard to imitate it. It was just basically just changing it to waves. I am doing the hand motions, and I'm not even video recording this. It's just a voice recording. That is how nervous I am. So now I've gone through with the colouring, and basically, if you've watched my previous videos, I'm using the same method for the skin for Snow White. For some reason, this one's actually showing up, the yellow is showing up a lot more on this one. I think I pressed maybe a little bit too hard. Yeah, so I just went with the yellow, and then now I'm just going over super duper lightly with my palest skin tone. Just because Snow White does have that really pale skin tone in the cinema. She's fairest of them all. Yeah, I don't even know what I want to say. So yeah, just basically the same. I smudged it in here because for some reason it came up really grainy and it didn't blend very well. I think that's because I did the yellow a bit too hard, like pressed too hard on it. And yeah, I'm just doing the shading. This one took a lot longer than the than Miss Bunny's skin did. I don't know why it took so long. Oh, so I kind of used, I think that was the wrong color. I think that was the color I didn't quite want to use. It was more of a pinky color, and the reason why I wanted to try it out was because it actually said dark flesh tone on the pencil. So yeah, I wanted to try it out to see if I could get it darker than what my, usually I use the medium dark tone pencil, but yeah, I wanted to see if I could get it darker, but it was a bit too pink for my liking. And now looking at the video, her skin still looks really yellow. I really don't like, because it doesn't look that yellow in the picture, like in real life, so yeah, that kind of annoys me. It's probably just my light that I have. I really need to get a white LED light. So I was rambling on a bit there. So now I am doing the hair. This one was really hard. I'm not good with shading black when it comes to like hair or even clothes. Just because like I like going for the pitch black, but with pencil you can't. If you rub it out, it's either too light or it smudges a lot more than you want it to. So yeah, this part was very difficult for me. I wouldn't say it was the most difficult part, because I just used my normal techniques for it with the shading. But yeah, it was definitely one of the difficult bits. Another difficult bit will be coming up soon when I get to the dress. That was one that I didn't quite like. I had to add the red bow headband, because that's kind of like one of the iconic things, apart from her dress and her pale skin for Snow White. Even though they didn't really wear they didn't wear bows at all in their hair. It was more hats and scarves and all that sort of stuff. I still wanted to keep it kind of true to Snow White's image, kind of thing. Now I just missed it, but I want to talk about the eyes and the lips. So I wanted to do the lips first because I was already using red, but going from the bow straight to the lips and skipping the eyes, it was probably a mistake because I actually started coloring a little bit of the eye in red. As you saw, I did use a rubber for it, but yes, that kind of got me a little bit stressed. So the eyes are a lot darker than what they probably should be. Yeah. Getting to the top of this dress, I'm using blues that are close to the blue on her dress, like on her sleeves and her bodice. And this part, since I was pressing so hard on it to try and get a flat color, I needed to get an A4 piece of paper, as you can see, just to stop my hand from smudging any of it. I did start doing it without the piece of paper, and there was a few smudges, but I managed to... Oh, sorry, I am yawning so much, and I don't know why. Okay, yeah, so with that part, I was pressing so hard that I really needed another piece of paper. But even then, I didn't get the flat color that I wanted to, just because it was such a wide area and I had to keep re-sharpening my pencil, and it just got so frustrating. Eventually, as you can see, when I got to the right hand side, or the right hand sleeve, I wasn't pressing as hard, which I regret. I really should have just persevered and kept going. Anyway, I'm falling really behind here. So I obviously did yellow. The reason why I didn't do the very bottom bit, like where her hips come out, is because the proportion was totally off. I don't know how that happened. Her waist was just absolutely tiny compared to the rest of her body. So at the end, I actually chopped off that little bit, but you can still see the date, like the date and everything is still in there, and of course the bow that's at the back. So yeah, I had finished without realizing that the bow hadn't been done. So this is just going over the outlines because they got kind of lost when I was doing all the colouring. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't think... Oh, there's actually not that much more to do. It's just the colouring. Just the outlining. Oh my god, I cannot speak. I think I need food and water. I have water here. No, definitely need food. Yeah, it's almost lunchtime, so I'm getting a wee bit hungry. Anyway, that's all for now. I did want to say a few more things, but I'll put it in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!